Roundtree, 6119 Charlotte Road. I'm the owner of Lincoln Bridges and also the president of the Merchants Association. So two things tonight. The first is Springfest funding. As you know, this is our second annual Springfest. This year it takes place April 17th through the 23rd. It's a week-long exhibit or exhibition. We start on Sunday, and that is the 17th. We'll have an open house that day with the merchants at from 3 to 5, and then from 5 to 7 will be our adult art exhibit, and that will be out at Frogtown. So we have local artisans that will be participating in that. Tuesday is Mayor for a Day. This year we're going to be doing Springfest in conjunction with Georgia Cities Week, which is done with, from the state every year. And we learned about it last year about midway through Springfest, so we decided that this year we would do it in conjunction with Georgia Cities Week. And they have several activities that you can do during the course of Georgia Cities Week, and one of them is Mayor for a Day. So we have put out some guidelines that are going to the middle school. 6th, 7th, and 8th graders will be able to write an essay on if I were mayor. And the English board at the school will choose 20 finalists. And on Monday, those finalists' essays will be in all of the downtown merchants' windows. There'll be 20 of them. And from that 20, there will be one finalist chosen that will be mayor for a day. And on Friday of this same week, that person will shadow the mayor for a few hours. There'll be a proclamation read, declaring that day as Mayor Joseph Gibson Day or whatever. So that's on Monday. Tuesday will be the Girls Night Out Paint Party. That will be sponsored by the Blush Brush, also by Frogtown. Wednesday is Family Day, and we're just encouraging families to spend time together over the dinner table or at worship. Thursday is going to be our children's art exhibit. And the children at the elementary school have already had some of their art on display at the Turner Center. So that art, along with a few additional pieces, will be selected to hang in the caboose. And that Thursday we'll have an exhibition for their art and a reception that will take place outside the caboose for those children and their family and friends. Friday is Earth Day, and we're just encouraging people to plant a tree, hug a tree, trim some shrubs, whatever. And then Saturday will be our actual arts and crafts vendor activity that will be going on behind the caboose. Also that day, Girls on the Run will be holding their 5K, and that will start, I think, on Randall Street. And so that will be going on in conjunction. So that's our Springfest V2. Our budget for that is going to be, we're actually going to probably come in where we did the Easter Festival, which was about $1,500. But just to break down, the art exhibit and reception, we're budgeting about $700 for that. $300 for the children's art exhibition and reception. For advertising, which will include Valdosta Daily Times, 2 banners that will hang up in the city entrance that's coming in, and yard signs. That's going to run about $450, and then I allotted $100 for printing, but we've already done better as I went to City Hall today and made copies. So our budget for Springfest is going to come in at about $1,500. So I think that was it, unless anyone has any questions for Springfest. Okay.
Anyone have any questions for me?
Okay. Alrighty. Shall I move on?
8C.
Yep, 8C.
Decision request.
Yes.
Our Merchants Association.
Well, as you all know, the Merchants Association formed in July of last year to basically plan and execute activities on behalf of the city. We steward that amount of the city's budget that was planned and allocated toward activities. And as volunteers, we basically do all the work. Every single one of us that are in the Merchants Association own and operate their own businesses. And the good old 80-20 rule applies here too. So about 20% of us do 80% of the work. And it's getting to where we can't handle it. So We have discussed the possibility of adding an admin person to the Merchants Association to help us with the mundane things that I do on Saturday afternoons and my evenings off, and my Mondays, such as making copies and calling people and scheduling and sending files and that type of thing, and doing interviews with the paper and planning and that sort of thing. So we've had some discussions with the city manager on what would be the best way to approach adding a support personnel to the Merchants Association. Having only a year and a half of experience here, I've had to go on some backstory as to how the merchants had worked in the past with other downtown better home coordinators, that type of thing. So we felt it would be in the best interest of everybody working together if this person actually was a part of the HMA and worked for the HMA. But because we don't have our own money, this would come out of the part of the budget that we steward, which I think the budget's currently at like about $28,000 that we steward, which here at May 4th, we've only spent $1,500 of that budget. So I think we're doing an amazing job in, watching the dollars for the city. But that being said, we've got to have some help. And one of the ideas that came up was to actually work through a temp agency to bring someone in to help us. Some of the merchants have discussed that we could probably get by with about a 300-hour budget per year. That would be giving this person 300 hours per year to work with, and they would budget that time as they see fit. Paying this person $10 an hour, reporting to the HMA and working and being a part of the HMA. So after making a call to one of the personnel staffing services in Valdosta Team Tents, we can work through them. They would send us a support person. They would charge us $14 an hour for that $10 an hour per hour person. They would take care of all of the workman's comp, all of the taxes, Social Security, unemployment. They would simply bill us on a weekly basis. That person would turn in their time card. They would pay them on a weekly basis, and they would bill us for that person. So it seems like a really good scenario to get us the help that we need. The gentleman that I spoke to at the temporary service said that it might be better for us to vet that person and send that person to them, as he would have a very difficult time finding someone to only work 300 hours per year. So we are looking at a few people here locally who are Hayhire citizens who love this town, who perhaps are retired or just looking for something to do in their spare time, who are creative, who are organized, and who want to be a part of this, who are not afraid to work. So the officers of the HMA would sit down with these people and vet them thoroughly before sending them to the temp agency, and then they would become an employee of the temp agency working exclusively for the HMA. So based on a 300-hour budget for the year at $14, that's $4,200 that would come out of that portion of the budget that we steward. And we would pay that person $10 an hour. Now, January and February, that person probably wouldn't do a whole lot. October, November, December, that person would be working a lot. So it would depend on the time of the year, but the person would have to do a very good job in budgeting their time. We also felt like, and not that we wouldn't want to pay someone for their work, but we also felt like if it was somebody who was from here and loved Hayhire like we did, they would probably work whenever they needed to. So that was the thinking behind getting the support personnel in here. Honestly, if the merchants who are on the roster, who are actually members of the Merchants Association, if they would all get in and push up their sleeves and let's get to work, we might not have to do this, but unfortunately that's not the case. There's only 2 or 3 people who will actually get out and push their sleeves up and do the work. And we can't do that and run businesses and run our lives too. We tried, we gave it our best heave-ho, but July will be a year, and we have a lot of activities still to come between now and the end of the year, and we simply just don't see a way to do it. When the events occur, which generally are on Saturdays, that's when most of us need to be in our stores working. But me and a couple of other people, put somebody in the store so that we could be there. So this would be, I think, a great opportunity for someone else to chip in and be a part of Hayhire and then give us the help that we need. That's not to say that as a Merchants Association we're going to back off. We're still going to do all the planning. we're still going to do all the budgeting for the programs, everything that we've done. We just need somebody to actually physically get in there and make some phone calls and do some heavy lifting.
For our part, staff thinks this is an absolutely outstanding idea. It strikes a healthy compromise between some of the problematic issues that arose in the previous iterations of the program and the new partnership that we're striving for with the merchants and the city. So from the standpoint of staff, the person would not be an employee of the city, which was a little bit problematic. The person will actually be an employee of the Team Temps Association or the temp entity and report to the Merchants Association. And the only relationship that exists on the part of the city is a contract, whereby for this sum of money, we allow this person to work for the Merchants Association. So it's clean, there's no indirect cost associated with it, there's no evaluation or other types of other issues with respect to personnel and staffing that you would get. And the person directly reports to and receives their directives from the merchants themselves. So it seems like it's a very good compromise.
I also like this. I think it's, as long as you're keeping, you're coming out of your budget, that was budgeted for that amount. You as a group feel that this is a good way to take that dollar and to maximize that dollar to help promote the things that y'all are trying to do, which we all think are good things. I think it's a great way to just contract someone, and in that method, it does. It makes it very clean. It puts you, instead of in the past, kind of working separately, you're working together.
Correct.
They're working in your direction.
Right.
And again, this is a part of the process of finding out what is the best way to promote our business. This is another part of that process.
Right. It's a learning
That's
curve.
right. It's a part of that process, and I'm all for it. I think it's something we need to try and see if it helps and further promote, to help you folks
Right.
further promote, continue to do what you're doing, and even better. Then I think it's a good way to grow and see just how it'll work.
I just don't think people realize what all the Merchants Association does on their own time as volunteers, and the amount of time that it takes away from our businesses and our families. And we do it because we love it, but you can only do what you can do.
Absolutely.
And I think this would be a great use of a small percentage of that budget that would hopefully allow us opportunities to do other things and to bring more visibility to Hayhire by taking some of this burden off of us.
With the two requests on the table, the balance of funds within supply promotional that the city allocated with the FY16 budget would still be somewhere north of $18,000. So still a very healthy balance for the remainder of the year's activities.
Absolutely. One of the biggest activities that we'll have coming up in the very near future will be the July 4th celebration, which we are still in the planning stages for. But then it'll slow down until October, November, and December. One of the merchants actually received a request from a citizen that they would like to see a Hayhire newsletter printed on a regular basis, and they wanted the Merchants Association to do it. And we all just laughed like, yeah, when is that going to happen? But this would actually be a really good opportunity and something for this support person to do. They mentioned that since we had lost the gold leaf, that this would be a great way, a non-social media way to connect people again by issuing a newsletter and possibly dropping them in the mail or something. So it would be a great start for the support person. Any other questions?
Is this recurring or just on an annual?
Will be on an annual basis. The contract will just renew every year. But our plan is once we hire somebody, that person will be with us. Which is why we did entertain the idea of an intern, a non-paid intern, but they would be moving through, every few quarters or every year. They probably wouldn't be from Hayhire. They would obviously be a college-age student and We just feel like that that's not appropriate for us at this time, that we really need someone much more mature than that.
Yeah, choosing the person is going to be critical.
Yes.
I would, but you said that the agency suggested maybe you guys find the person and
Right.
send them to them.
Exactly.
I definitely like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, based on past history, the vetting process is going to be thorough, I can assure you of that. A few names have already come to the table that are locals, people who have, perhaps retired, that husband still works and just looking for a little something to do, someone that's creative and loves Hayhara. I mean, to me, above all, that would be the requisite, is they be from Hayhara and they love Hayhara. And that they will work diligently and tirelessly for the benefit of Hayhara. So we just didn't feel at this time that an interim was the right way to go.
Any more questions? Thank you.